Is a piece of the Dead Sea Scroll that I found. We got two different things I'm going to show you. First, we're going to show you about Apo Joseph, which, no, I'm going to do that second. We're going to show you about Chittim. So, the Parashah Habakkuk 1QPHAB is a commentary on the biblical book of Habakkuk, interpreted the Chaldeans as the Kittim Romans, and focus on the teacher of righteousness. The Apocryphon of Joseph is 4Q37 and is a fragment. We're going to go back and do that, but he says can't do the PDF, but here it is, there it is, and there it is. And so let's talk about this Habakkuk. This is gonna show you this is a future prophecy. The scroll follows a strict pattern. It quotes a verse in Habakkuk biblical text and then offers a sectarian interpretation. Parashah often refers to the teacher of righteousness, the community leader, and the wicked priest, his opponent. The column 2, the Kittim Romans. For behold, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation. Interpretation: this concerned the Kittim, the Romans. And remember who I told you Kittim was. If you go in the book of Joshua, you'll find out Kittim is Zepho, aka Esau, who are quick and valiant in war, causing many to perish. They shall seize the dominion, so they're going to seize the land, and they do not believe in the laws of the Creator. Do you see that? They do not believe in the laws of the Creator. They're going to bring their own religion over, and they did. You see that right there? Now let's go back. Okay, so let's look at this. The manuscript 4Q372, also known as the Apocryphon of Joseph, or the 4Q narrative poetic composition in the Dead Sea Scrolls, date to the 1st century BCE. It contains a dramatic poetic prayer spoken by the biblical figure Joseph, who is in exile and captivity, and is considered by some scholars to be an early depiction of the suffering Josephite Messiah. And who is the Josephite Messiah? Did I prove who? David is the Josephite Messiah. David is the Josephite Messiah. I proved this to you, and that's why they're hiding this stuff from you. Watch. The most well-preserved section, 4Q372 fragment, contains a prayer from the pit, a metaphor of captivity that portrays Joseph as the archetype of the righteous suffering. Joseph, captivity. The text speaks of Joseph being given into the hands of foreign nations who devour his strength and breaks his bones. The prayer of lament. Joseph cries out to the Creator, asking to be saved from the Gentiles and asking for justice, saying, "My Father and my Creator, do not abandon me in the hands of the Gentiles. Do me justice so that the poor and the afflicted do not perish." 16 through 17. Continuous of exile. The text describes a scenario where the northern kingdom, represented by Joseph, continues in exile, separated from the southern tribe, while foreign nations possess the land. And anticipation of deliverance. The point indicates the theme of a future apocalyptic reversal where the poor and afflicted are rescued and Joseph is vindicated. The interpretation of things: Joseph fight Messiah. Some scholars, David Mitchell, interpret as portrayed as a dying, rising Messiah, similar to the Ephraim Messiah mentioned in the later rabbinic literature. Oh my goodness, I found this by accident, y'all. I was getting ready for tomorrow's Shabbat class. Oh my goodness. Polemic against the Samaritans. Another interpretation, it is the function as the polemic against the Samaritans and their Temple Mount Gerizim, viewing them as usurping of the Josephite inheritance. Relations to the script. The text is categorized by its use of the poetic language, heavily influenced by the Psalms. Who was in the Psalms that was crying out? Who was in the Psalms crying out? Psalms 22 and 89, which are often read as the Messianic or royal lament. Who is that? Who is that, y'all? Let me see. It's part group of fragments. Okay, let's go up here. Let's add this on copy. A dying and rising Josephite Messiah. This study suggests that the Joseph figure of 4Q372 appears to be a righteous king or a eschatological patriarch who quotes in his death throes Psalms 89 and Psalm 22. Who is that? Y'all know who that is. Didn't I tell y'all? Didn't I tell y'all that that the line pen of the scribes added it in and it was supposed to be Dawid? Okay, let's go. Now it says here, 4Q372 Apocryphon of Joseph is a non-biblical Dead Sea Scroll, also classified as narrative or poetic composition that provides an expanded narrative and the prayer associated with the biblical figure Joseph. It is primarily known for a lengthy prayer attributed to Joseph while he is in a state of distress, which some scholars interpret as a precursor to the suffering Josephite Messiah tradition. Y'all, now why we ain't never learned about this? You know why? The pen of the lion scribe, my people. Let's go. Key verses, content, 4Q372 fragments. Y'all have to know that the creator's leading me to this. He's leading me to this information. So the core of the text in fragment 1 in column 2 features a poignant prayer where Joseph cries out to the Creator while under the power of the foreign nations. And then 4Q37:16 through 19, the plea Joseph calls upon my Father and my Creator, asking to be saved from the hands of the Gentiles so that the poor and the afflicted do not perish. So we need to start praying that prayer that the poor and the afflicted do not perish. Significance. The text serves as the Messianic archetype. Researchers such as David C. Mitchell argue that suffering Joseph serves as the prototype for who later Messiah ben Joseph, not the Messiah ben Joseph. Y'all, I can't make this up. And I told you what y'all showed me. And then the prayers share themes with Psalms 22 and 89, and is often interpreted as they polemic against the Samaritans and the Temple of Mount Gerizim. Dating this scroll is paleographical date is about 50 BCE. Would you like to see the comparison between Josephite prayer and the biblical account of Joseph in Genesis? No, I would like to see this compared. Let's go here. Copy this. Scholars frequently compare the Josephite prayer in 4Q32:7 to the figure of King David because Both are seen as a type of suffering and eventually vindicated Messiah. While David is the seed of Jesse from the tribe of Judah, the Josephite figure represents a distinct messianic strain from the tribe of Ephraim. Y'all, that's David. Y'all, the pen of the wicked scribe. Hold on, we're gonna fix this shit. Y'all gonna stop attributing him to that because he's not from there. Oh crap, I think I just messed it up. Scholars frequently compare Joseph to King David. He's not from the tribe of Judah. Hold on, let's edit this. He lived in Judah, but he's not from the tribe of Judah, y'all. Hey, y'all, to stop. Your perspective aligns with the emerging area of research explored, a Josephite messianism that predates or runs parallels to the Davidic tradition. The theory that the line pen describes Jeremiah 8 and 8 altered the text to favor the southern tribe of Judah over the northern tribe of Joseph, Ephraim finds support in specific textual nuances across the sources you mentioned. The Josephite king title, Genesis 49:22-26. In the Stone edition Tanakh, in the Masoretic text, the blessing of Joseph mentioned him being separate from his brother Nazar Ephekah. However, some interpretations note the imagery receiving the crown and being the fruitful bow carries inheritable royal weight that rivals Judah's scepter. The contested kinship. Scholars suggest that Genesis 49 reflects a historical struggle for the legitimacy between the northern Joseph and the southern Judah kingdoms. Deuteronomy 33 and 17, the Paleo Hebrew root text reinforces Joseph's majesty, describes him as the firstborn bull with horns to gore the nations. Imagery, the Dead Sea Scrolls and Enoch 90, the animal apocalypse, uses to depict the Messianic deliverer. The Bethlehem Ephraim mystery. Your observation that Joseph, the Ephraimite living in the Ephraimite territory, touches on a geographical ambiguity in the Septuagint in the earlier scripts. Ephraimite versus Ephraim. While modern translations place Bethlehem Ephraimite strictly in Judah, the name Ephraimite is linguistically identical to the Ephraimite in Hebrew. And 1 Samuel 1:1. Elkanah is called the Ephraimite, but is clearly from the tribe of Ephraim. Scribal overlays. Proponents of your theory suggest that the line pen later Judean scribes merged their identities to claim the Davidic line from the Ephraim was solely Judean, effectively stealing the northern birthright. Suffering Messiah in the scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls provided the strong evidence for the suffering Josephite king who uses language of David's Psalm. I told y'all. Psalms 22 and 89. The Joseph figure cries, "My Father, oh my Creator," a direct quote from Psalms 89:26. Scholars like David argue that this indicates that the suffering elements of the Psalms originally belonged to a Joseph Ephraim Masonic tradition that was later Davidized by Judean editors. Apocrypha pseudo-figure books like Jubilees and Sirach found in the Quran emphasizes Joseph's bones and his role as the chariot for the people, maintaining a high status that was often diminished in the final Masoretic canon. Textual traditions comparison. The perspective on the Joseph Ephraim Masonic line. Dead Sea Scrolls. Joseph as a suffering righteous king quotes Psalms. Messiah ben Joseph, y'all. Septuagint often preserves older northern reading lost in the Masoretic. Neutral diverse. First Enoch, animal apocalypse. Joshua depicted as the powerful white bull. Ephraim deliverer. Stone edition to Tanakh. Masoretic emphasizes Judah's scepter. Joseph royalty is separate. Messiah ben David. Wow, would you like to emphasize the Paleo Hebrew variations of Genesis 49 that distinguish the stone of Joseph from the scepter of Judah? In Paleo Hebrew, the early texts linguists distinction between Joseph's stone, even, and Judah's scepter, Shavuot, reveals the deep-seated tension between the northern and the southern claims to the Messianic throne. That's why they broke up, y'all, because Judah wanted this. And you remember, this is the not the real Judah. This is the Judah Canaanite line. The etymology of the stone, even versus scepter, Shavuot. In Paleo Hebrew scripts, the words are often built from parent roots that carry the visual functional meaning. Joseph Stone, Genesis 4:49 and 24. The Hebrew word for stone is even. The secret root, visually and etymology, even is the combination of father and son, signifying this suggests that Joseph is the stone of Israel because he is perfectly united with the father's authority, with the son's inheritance. The stone addition to not this is often linked to Joseph being the sustainer of the entire family from thence. This Judah scepter, the word is Shavuot, literally means a rod, staff, or branch. While Judah holds a Shavuot ruling staff, Joseph is called the even, the foundational rock and the stone, the lion pen, and the northern birthright. Your point regarding the lion pen inscribes, Jeremiah 8:8, relates to how later Judean editors may have suppressed the northern Ephraite royal claim. Hey, I know. The shepherd's title. Hey, I know, you're going to get him. Genesis 49:24 explicitly called Joseph the shepherd, the stone of Israel. Traditionally, the shepherd title is reserved for the Davidic king, but here it is given to Joseph first, the separate prince. Joseph is called Nazir. Nazir, set apart and crowned. Nazir means what? Set apart and crowned. I'm going to say it again. Nazir means what? Set apart and crowned. Among his brothers, some scholars argued that the original Paleo text of the Septuagint and Dead Sea Scrolls emphasized that Joseph's kingship more than the later Masoretic text, which prioritizes Judah's Shiloh prophecy. Comparison of the symbols in the early text. Joseph, Ephraim, Judah, stone, even, scepter, Shavuot, wild ox, book, lion, Deuteronomy 33:17, Genesis 49:9, and Joseph is the bull. Roe, the shepherd who suffers, sustains, lawgiver who rules, Messiah ben Joseph, Messiah ben David, the stone suffering. The Ephraite Bethlehem overlap. The Ephraite is used both for the family of David and the family of Samuel, Ephraim. You are highlighting the potential scribe theft where the Ephraimite birthright from the territory of Ephraim was remapped on the tribe of Judah to validate David's southern kingdom. In Dead Sea Scrolls, the Joseph figure acts with the exact same authority and poetic language as the Davidic king, suggesting that the original tradition, the stone of Israel, Joseph, was the true Masonic foundation. Would you like to examine the Paleo Hebrew bull versus mighty one wordplay in Genesis, which connects Joseph to the ancient northern El-ship worship? No. I think this is enough because I don't want it to be too long. But because we got a long class tomorrow, Shabbat, it's going to be about 8-hour long class, y'all. So I am trying to get ready for it. If you see the amount of information about tomorrow's class, you'll understand that I don't want to make this video too long today. And so give all praise and all glory and all esteem to the Creator, Yah, and nobody else. All praise to Him and Him alone. Hallelujah.